Good morning, everyone. I am Haley Garcia, and welcome this morning to Rise, Shine, and Live Aligned. I am so excited to introduce our guest today, Miss Nancy Charbonneau with Charbonneau Interiors. She is a great friend of mine and an amazing designer and runs a firm here in our local area. And I'm super excited to have her on the show today. So welcome, Nancy. Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here, Haley. Thank you for having me.
We get to talk about all things design this morning. It's so much fun.
Love it.
I know. Will you, Nancy, before we jump in, will you give us just a little bit of background and a little bit of history about you and your company so everybody knows what you have created and done over all the years?
Sure. Well, I have been in interior design, I want to say my entire life. I grew up with a father who built the house I lived in and just got to enjoy living with a mom who sewed lots of things in our home. And so I feel like it's been just a part of my being my entire life. So I went to college for fashion design. I switched to interior design and have not looked back since. So I've had two companies. One was in Atlanta, Georgia. And then when my husband was transferred to Houston, I started a company in 1998, was Woodlands Fabrics and Interiors. And then about 4 years ago, we decided to move away from retail and we rebranded and renamed our company, kept most of our team, and are now Charbonneau Interiors, which we've been operating now as a by appointment only full service interior design firm for the last 4 years.
It's so
Okay,
amazing.
here.
So amazing. Just a couple of years. You have some design history, just a couple. And as seen by your beautiful background, you guys do an amazing job. I know you've
Oh, thank you.
with many of my clients over the years, and you have a way of just stepping in and making every space beautiful. So I'm super excited to have our conversation today. As you may have seen on our Wake Up with Haley, I really like to start out with a piece of gratitude. So before we jump in this morning, would you just share something good with us that is going on in your life, something that you're grateful for?
Sure. So I guess two things come to mind. The first one is that we have a pretty amazing team, staff members and team members, and a lot of our team members have been with us for many, many years. And one in particular, she's been with us for over 15 years. She's actually our seamstress, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer in the fall, and she is now cancer-free.
Oh, that's amazing.
Just recently she's finished her treatments, and she still has a few more things to go, but she's cancer-free, and I'm just so grateful and thankful for that. And she's just been amazing through it all. And she's an integral part of our team, and just so thankful that all is good. So I have to say that. And then, on another note, we just got a project on a cover of a magazine this month, which is always exciting, and it's a special project. So super excited about that. So thank you.
Very cool. Oh, those are great things. So much to be grateful for. It's funny that you say team because this morning, mine is team related also. We have a new hire starting today, and we have lots of growth happening on my team. And I too, like you, have an amazing group of people that I work with, and obviously could not do all the things without the group behind the scenes, right? Making it all happen. And we also last week found out that for the Houston Business Journal for 2021, we ranked number 4 in all of Houston out of 37,000 realtors. So
congratulations.
A really strong ranking. Yes. So I'm so grateful for them and super proud of them because,
oh my gosh, congratulations.
Through COVID, right? As you guys know. It's had its challenges, right? And yet still so many pieces of gratitude woven in there with the people that we get to work with on a daily basis. So lots of good stuff. Yes. Thank you. Same to you. So I would love to start our conversation about design. I know there are so many layers to things that we could talk about. So I'm going to try to keep us on track today because, whenever we start talking design, we can go down so many different paths because it gets so fun and exciting. But will you just start, Nancy, give us a little bit of an understanding when you start to work with a new client, how do you really help them define their style and really, really decide what they want their spaces to look like?
So it's really interesting because it's been an evolution for me to even be able to answer this question in a way that feels super authentic for me personally, and where I am now after being in this industry for, gosh, probably close to 30 years, which is scary. Is that I want my clients' interiors to be a reflection of who they are and not necessarily what is best for my portfolio or being on a cover of a magazine, even though sometimes that does happen, which is fun. But I want, my clients' ultimate goal to be that when they are in their space, that it's one of their happy places, and that they truly feel like the space is a reflection of them and their life. And so I feel like it's a true honor to be able to do that. I feel like just being able to take the whole like mind, body, soul, and then adding surroundings to it
Yes.
just has brought a whole new intention to what I do. And I just am passionate about it. So
It is so true, and I know, when you say that mind, body, soul connection, it's so easy for people on the outside of the industry to think, "Oh, you do paint and wall coverings and window treatments and right, all the pieces that actually make the space." But to your point, it really is about creating a space that in our homes, we spend so much time there, right? And we can hang a window curtain on a window, and yet it's the feeling of the space when you're in it that really makes you happy, and it feels like the quote unquote home, right? um,
right. Yeah. And I feel I'm so passionate about if you feel empowered and joyful in your surroundings, like you will radiate that out to
yes.
the universe. And I literally like get goosebumps talking about it. I feel like it just because this industry, you can really struggle with like the material side of things and just like getting bogged down with that. And so it's just so much deeper than that. And I feel it's one of the, I guess, benefits of aging is
Yeah. A
being
little
able
bit of
to
wisdom in there with that experience, right?
right, being able to come to a place where it's like, okay, this is bigger than just the material side of things, because like beauty is deeper than skin deep, it really is. And it's the same thing for interiors. I feel like, if you can walk into a room and just get a feeling of peace and joy, or whatever it is that you're seeking, I think it's an amazing um, career to have. So
It is, and you're absolutely right. I know I can speak for personal experience. When I'm in a space, whether it's my home or my office, and you feel that joy and that empowerment, and you really connect to the beauty of the space, it changes your entire outlook when you're there, right? It really does. It's
uh,
transformative.
it really does. And like this space that I'm in is my home office. And of course, we all kind of had to hunker down during the pandemic. And so I completely renovated my home office so that I could do yoga in my office during the day, because, just having to sit and be on Zoom all day long, it was like I needed to take breaks. And so my office has very minimal furniture so that I can actually put my yoga mat out and do yoga. And it's made my long days of sitting in front of a computer, which I was not used to, actually, again, that mind, body, soul connection, but, incorporating that into my office. And it's life changing, which sounds so silly, but it's true.
It is. It is. No, I know there's so many little cliche things, right? That we say when it comes to the mind, body, soul, and the connection to the space, but it really is true. I mean, it is the defining pieces of how you experience every day. And I know I want to speak to this too, because we have a mutual client, and she and her husband purchased a very, very modern house, and her previous home was not modern at all. It was very traditional. And I remember having the conversation with her when they were making the decision to buy this modern house. She was very concerned, and she's like, it just doesn't feel like me because it's not traditional. It's not warm and homey, because modern can sometimes get very cold and linear and just black and white, more so to speak. And of course, they brought you in, and I was just there a couple of weekends ago, and it's absolutely beautiful and transformed, and it feels so warm, and it feels exactly like her, right, as a person.
It's just like they're
And
just my heart so happy because that's what
I
it's all
asked her.
about
Yes,
is,
I asked her. I was like, "So how do you feel now that you've been here for, I think they've been there maybe a year or so, or maybe even a little bit longer." But I said, "How do you feel?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so my home. Nancy just nailed it. It is so great. I love everything about it." So I just had to share that with you because
oh, that
it was
makes me
a perfect
happy.
example. Yeah, and the house is phenomenal, right? It's you did such an amazing job of bridging the modern house itself, right, to the pieces inside of it that just brought it all together.
Well, and I
Um,
think that the exciting part about that is that you walk in that home and it feels like them. It's, because
yes,
the house has concrete walls
yes,
and it has hard surface floors. They're gorgeous because they're just a gorgeous wood. But I feel like it was a little bit of a challenge to say, okay, how can we take these concrete walls and make this feel like someone who loves softness? And
yes.
I feel like we achieved it. So thank you for saying that. So
Yeah,
that's what makes it all worth it is to hear that. So
it's an amazing space. So speaking of challenges, tell us when you're going in to design a space or working with clients, what do you find most challenging?
well, my answer now is probably different than it was before the pandemic. So before the pandemic, my answer would have been all of these shows on TV that make it look like it's so easy because it's obviously reality TV is not reality.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
So the shows that talk about being able to go in and do things quickly and on a dime and all of this, that was always our biggest challenge. But since the pandemic, of course, we now are having to deal with delays and referring back to my yoga mat, it's a time of having to do things to bring calm to your life. And when you're in the middle of a big renovation or construction that's been delayed and is taking way longer, it's really easy for people to get frustrated. And so, we get to fortunately be involved from the beginning with a lot of these projects with renovations and new construction. But oftentimes, by the time we get to actually come in and put the frosting on the cake, which is all the beautiful interiors after you've been, say, building or renovating for a long time,
Right.
it's like that fatigue has set in. And so, we have to um, now go in and try to create, a feeling of peace and joy during a very frantic, time of having to be patient for supply chain issues and delays. And so,
So many things that are out of our control, right? And I
yeah,
think that's one of the things. And I know your team is much like my team behind the scenes. They're working so hard, not only to track and manage everything that isn't directly within our control, but also to set the right expectation for the
right,
clients so
right.
that they can somewhat settle into, we understand, we all feel the sense of urgency to have this done yesterday,
Right.
and probably isn't going to happen that way, right? We may
Right. I mean, it's hard.
have.
It's hard because we have to set that expectation in the beginning. And like when you're just starting a project, you're so excited that, it can be a little bit of a downer in the beginning because it's like, oh, it's going to cost more than you think. It's going to take longer than you think.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to, maybe do things different than we used to do. And so, we have to be really realistic in the front. And so, and a lot of people don't like that. And so, we've just come to a place where it's like, if you don't understand that it's not going to be a joyful process, and
Right.
it's important to us that it is, and that it is fun, but you have to have the perspective of there will be delays, there will be things that go wrong, there will be damages, those kind of things. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about a couple of fun things. Right now in the market and on trend, what are some of the signature colors and textiles that you're really enjoying working with?
I'm so excited because right now is like I feel like it's my time because so many things that I feel are like to my core being are trends right now, which is so exciting. Um, I just took a client sourcing furniture. We went to Dallas and spent a couple days there, and it was so fun because the showrooms all had a really fun, funky 70s vibe, which was like, at first she was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this.
Right.
And it was everywhere. But it's like elevated. And at the end of our shopping trip, she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Like I feel like so energized being in these spaces because, all of these more kind of casual pieces that we've been seeing now are just getting a little bit more funky, a little more playful, a little more energetic. And like I'm a huge like energy person, and so I'm super excited about it because I just think if you can like have a room that when you walk in is just full of energy, that's kind of one of the trends right now, which is so fun.
It is so fun. And I've noticed too a lot of the new shapes, right? Like table
Yeah.
shapes and right
Oh,
and
and
even
it's
sofa
so
shapes.
exciting because it's like it's not cookie cutter anymore,
Right, right.
which I is just part of my whole being is like, you don't want what you have, everybody else has. And so right now it's like finding handcrafted items, which is amazing because it brings us back to, things that are made local and,
Right.
finding local artisans that make things and finding that one of a kind, unique piece. That's why I love the art festival that we have here because it's like all of these really, truly one of a kind things is like, and that's on trend right now.
It is. It
And
is. I know you have some great relationships with local artisans. I know that you source from, and how great is it to have your one of a kind piece and be supporting local? It's
it's
the best of both worlds.
amazing. Yeah. I mean, we just recently did a project where our clients have a ranch house that they love dearly. And they were like, we just don't know how to make our main residence be how as much as we love our ranch house. And so we went out and spent a whole day photographing on their property. And every single piece of art in their home is some kind of interpretation from the photography we took that day. We did some paintings and things like that, but a lot of things
Cool.
we printed on metal, and we did all kinds of really cool things just with the photography from their property. And like no one else has those pieces. And so,
Right.
and it's like it just tells a story just with that. And so it's just super fun and exciting. Like I love it.
I love that. And it is true, right? When you go that route with the designing of your space, it is so true to you as a person, which is also inspiring, right? When you get to
Right.
walk through and see your own photography pieces and remember those moments and the process of everything, it just gives such a different feeling to the energy in the space.
Right. And it's a reflection of you, which is super amazing. But we can take that and make it abstract and do some really cool things like this particular client, they have horses. And so we took some really cool details of their horses that like just made some really amazing pieces of art. So yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that. I
But
love it.
as far as any other trends, because there's so many right now that, like I say, I'm so excited about. I'm a big nature person. I love to incorporate organic shapes, organic colors, and that's really coming in right now too, which is super exciting. Greens coming back, which I love because it's such a big part of nature.
Mhm.
And then of course, moving away from like artificial things like artificial plants and bringing in real, which is
Real.
my
Yeah.
jam. I have like 50 house plants in my home.
Yeah.
Um, and everybody says, "Oh, I kill everything." I was like, "No, you don't have to. I can teach you."
Yeah. We might
So,
need to do a wake up with Haley on that one specific topic.
oh, well, I have an amazing florist, and she helps me also with our plants. So, of
She
course,
is incredible. She
she
is
is.
incredible. I know from working with her on the amazing work you guys have done for some of our nonprofit events and making the spaces just come to life. You've done such an amazing job with her, and she is just literally one of a kind.
Yes, well, she happens to be my next door neighbor, and so I'm like, "Do you curse the day you moved in next to me?"
Are you
But
calling
she
every day, going, "Can you come over and check this one plant?"
it's pretty much every day. But just bringing in live plants and, like I keep fresh flowers, from my garden. So that the things I choose to plant in my yard, I always am like, "Oh, is it something that I can get cuttings from?" So,
Mhm.
anyway, but that is on trend right now, which is, like I say, super exciting. And then, like brushed metals, like things that are more organic, like instead of like bright gold, it's now more brushed gold and bringing in like things that patina and things that just, like I say, look like they came out of nature and
Right,
could have been, out of the archives. And so
right.
it's like super exciting and fun.
Yeah, I love that. I know I was walking through a store this past weekend and they had this collection of tables that literally looked like they had been sitting in the bed of the forest for about 100 years. And they were so cool.
So
And
cool.
it made me think, like this trend is really popular, but I think it's so popular because it seems like post COVID, and I think you feel this way, but please comment on it. It seems like post COVID, we're all going back to the roots, right? Like we're all wanting to get back to nature and find the peace and calm and bring in the plants.
And
And
isn't it amazing?
it's so wonderful.
I know I
Yes.
have a company that we get interior water features from, and it's like even like things like that, like bringing in like the sound of water into your home so that you have a place that you can like meditate or like just
Yeah.
get back to center and just things like that. Like, isn't it an exciting time? Like, and
It
I
is.
mean, honestly, the pandemic brought a lot of this, this desire on, which is,
Absolutely.
and again, bringing like the fun into it too, like we're creating, more like lounge type spaces versus formal rooms,
Yes.
which is super fun. And, I'm always up for a good swanky vibe. So it's just super fun. So,
Yeah, it is. It is. It's so
mhm.
fun. So before we jump off of the trends, I had one more question. Will you speak to wall coverings and wallpapers? They have been on trend for a while, but do you see them continuing, or do you see them just shifting to more of the natural textures and things? Tell us just a little bit about that.
I think that we're doing a ton of wall coverings, and the more unique, we're actually designing and printing a lot of our custom wall coverings right now, again, so that like you have a one of a kind
Yeah.
and it becomes like a whole room of art, which is
So
super exciting. We're making the most amazing wall covering right now for a kid's bunk room. I cannot wait. It's going to be like so incredible. The repeat, I mean, the pattern is like huge, and it's like just graphic and fun and colorful, and
I love it.
it's so fun because we can pick any color from the Pantone, color deck. It's amazing. And so again, it's just another opportunity to really be a reflection of, art and whatever your vibe is. But
Yeah,
the sky's the limit. Like it's just amazing.
it
So
is.
we are doing a lot of wall coverings. So
Well, and it is like putting art on the wall. It's just not a piece of art, right? You're just covering the wall with it.
correct.
Yes. No, I love it. And I think so I know from my perspective to have someone like you come in and help spark that design and that creativity within your space is so amazing. So
Thank-
so much gratitude to you for being that person for so many people, because when we live in our space, if we're not necessarily design oriented, I know I for one can stand in a room and be like, I have no idea what this room should be, but it should not be what it is right now. I do know that. So for you to be able to come in and throw all of that passion and really get creative is so very special. So thank you for sharing that with all of your clients and us.
Well, thank you for saying that, because that just, like I say, that's my passion. So love it.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. So tell me, I know that in your background, you were a painter at one point. Tell me a little bit about how that really influenced the way that you approach a project and just kind of carry things through. Like, talk a little bit about the background history and the wisdom that came with all of that experience.
I love this question so much. I grew up going to art class and just had a passion for the ability to take a blank canvas and to be able to bring color onto it and just make something come to life. And then also to be able to study other painters and just to see the impact that art has had on our culture. It's truly just an amazing thing, because when you're actually taking the act of painting or creating a piece of art, it's almost like meditating or getting to a place where you're in the moment, because that's completely what you're looking at and focusing on, which is like, it's just such a gift to be able to do that. And so as far as relating how you would maybe start a piece of art or a painting, with how we start a project. It's like that whole blank slate concept of imagine the possibilities with this blank canvas, right? It's like just so like, goosebumps, because it's just so, there's so many opportunities and so many possibilities, which is super exciting. So then to like try to decide, what direction you're going to go, what colors you're going to use, it's very much the same concept,
Yes.
because you have an end desire in mind with, kind of what you're trying to accomplish. And so, I think that they are very relatable, looking at the starting of a painting and the starting of a project. And I think that they both involve equal amounts of, passion and creativity and brainstorming and investigating, and just kind of trying to get to a place where it's like, okay, what's the end goal and how are we going to get there? So
I love it. It's so true. And I think that, you and I both have worked with the Woodlands Art Council here in the Woodlands, for several different events and projects that they work on. And one of their famous taglines is "Because art matters." And what you just described is exactly that, right? And I think it's so easy for all of us to get caught up in our daily grind of whatever our job is and all of our responsibilities, and, our taking care of our families and paying the bills and just all the things that life entails. And we can easily forget how much art matters and how inspirational it can be, and how much it puts us back into connection with our bodies and our minds, and that creativity, and that sparks so much joy. And if we weave that into all of our daily responsibilities, right, it can just add so much joy. And that's exactly what you just explained, as far as the awareness of your background, and how you take a blank canvas and, make it something amazing by the time you're finished being creative with it.
And I mean, honestly, and that's one of the reasons I love being involved with the Art Council, is if we could inspire kids to know that,
Yes.
it's like a form of therapy that's like, completely at your fingertips at any time. And so, I was so fortunate and got to grow up having art in school. And it just, it makes me sad that kids don't really have as much of that anymore. And it's like something that I'm really passionate about. And, I hope to somehow inspire, not just, kids, but adults as well, to realize that it is something that can be very therapeutic. And, if you have a stressful day, or you're having anxiety, or you're feeling like you're not fitting in, putting a paintbrush to paper with even just a really inexpensive palette of watercolors is like, can make you feel like so much better.
So much better. You are absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. It really can. And I think it just is something that, those of us that know that, like yourself, right, that have that natural passion within you about it, you absolutely do inspire the rest of us that may not have that side of our brain as active,
Yeah.
to go, oh, wait a minute, that side of my brain does exist, right? Like, it's in all of us. We just have to remember to activate it and get inspired.
And I mean, honestly, like even just giving, kids a ball of clay, and just being like, make something with this ball of clay. Like, like you're saying, like just to activate that right side of the brain where all of that anxiety and fear doesn't live. It's a place where there isn't any of that. And it's like, you can, just, I think, live a much healthier life with something as simple as a ball of clay. So
Absolutely. So much healthier and so much more connected, right? And that's really living that alignment within our lives of learning how to integrate all the pieces of our messy human lives, and how
right.
beautiful they can be despite the mess, right?
Right.
Is
Yeah.
really the goal. So
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us this morning and for being so inspirational. I am ready to go paint right after this. So
Yay.
I'm going to go do something creative. So thank you.
Thank you, Haley. I loved being here. So appreciate you having me.
It's so fun. It's so fun. So before we go, Nancy, will you tell everyone where they can find you on social media and your website, so that they can connect if they wish?
Of course. So our website is charbonneauinteriors.com. And our main social media platform is Instagram, which is Charbonneau Interiors. And then I'm also on LinkedIn as Nancy Charbonneau. And then we have a Charbonneau Interiors on LinkedIn as well. So love to connect, love to form relationships, love to help in any way I can, like I say, to further the cause for, like I say, getting that ball of clay or paintbrushes in kids' hands. So I'm
Love
so happy to be here and be able to say that. So
it.
thanks, Haley.
Thank you so very much. And thank you also again for all the hard work you and your team do for our nonprofits and for making our event spaces and everything that we do so incredibly beautiful. You guys do such a fantastic job. So much gratitude to you, Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. It's our honor and our privilege to do it. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, have an amazing day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. You can connect with us here on Wake Up with Haley, Rise, Shine, and Live Aligned. Our next episode is going to be on June 21st. And as a reminder, we are on every first and third Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. sharp. So have an amazing day and go be creative.